I've been all along the Grand Strand today from Pawleys Island to Garden City, and right now we're at Garden City Pier. I've been talking to residents about the fact that now Hurricane Nicole is coming so late during hurricane season and not too far after Hurricane Ian. For the most part, those residents say they're just bringing in their bird feeders and outdoor furniture. After Tropical Storm Nicole makes landfall in Florida Thursday, the remnants will head our way. Just 2 months ago, the Grand Strand was impacted by Hurricane Ian, damaging the Grand Strand's coastline. As for Nicole, people I spoke with are just securing outdoor items. Pawleys Island Police Chief Michael Fanning says they're keeping an eye on beach erosion and making sure dunes are structurally sound. Fanning says he's only gotten a handful of calls from concerned residents.
We've had a few phone calls about whether or not they should move their vehicles. We had about 60 cars or so that got heavily damaged during Hurricane Ian that had to get towed off the island. So, we regularly on our social media, we try to remind people not to drive through the flooded roads.
Fanning says crews in Pawleys Island are still working to clean up debris from Ian. Here you can see docks still floating out in the creek. A
lot of those wood docks floated up and the wind just dislodged them, and some of them, the heavier ones, they just landed right in the middle of the creek. The ones with the gazebos on them, some of them are out there and they're overturned now, and so that's our next project after cleaning up everything on the beach right now.
The U.S. Geological Survey predicts dunes in South Carolina will again see impacts from Tropical Storm Nicole. They forecast 55% of South Carolina's dunes are expected to face some level of erosion and predict around 15% of dunes to be overwashed. I was in North Myrtle Beach and Garden City today, and while I was walking along the beach, it's evident how many sand dunes are ruined. Now, before Ian even arrived, the U.S. Geological Survey was forecasting problems, saying 43% of South Carolina's dunes were expected to be overwashed, and 99% were expected to face some level of erosion. What is put in place to protect us now needs repair due to Hurricane Ian's impacts. Paul Gaze with the Marine Science Department at Coastal Carolina University says sand dunes are a critical part of ensuring that the ocean doesn't flood roads and homes. He was out surveying the coastline today to see just how badly the dunes were damaged from Hurricane Ian.
Yeah, you've got different parts of the Grand Strand that are at different stages of various renourishment projects, one that only recently been completed in the South Strand, and others have been in place for a while. So all these factors kind of play into different areas get somewhat different effects. By and large, a lot of the beach lowering has happened during storms, and a number of areas the dunes were certainly scarped into.
He says now that these dunes are damaged, low-lying areas are more vulnerable.
If you start seeing storms more frequent, or we're not as able to maintain the renourishment intervals, then you start seeing increased levels of vulnerability. You certainly see that along the coast in some areas that are chronically higher erosion rates.
Gaze says Garden City's dunes saw some of the worst impacts from Hurricane Ian. Many crews can be seen out today still cleaning up sand from the roads. I met Mike Welch as he was removing furniture from beneath his home that was ruined when the sand dunes were breached.
When we could get over here and see the house, actually the furniture was just floating in the water because once the water got inside, the level came up, and then by the time we got back to begin to clean the house, the water had gone out, but all the furniture is ruined. There was just a thin, about a quarter to an eighth of an inch of just slimy mud all over the bottom of the floor.
All 124 South Carolina State House seats were up for grabs last night, so let's take a look at how things shifted. One seat was vacant, so Republicans went into election night holding 80 of the seats, while Democrats held 43. Republicans are projected to extend their lead. You can see they're going to have 88 seats projected again, while Democrats looking like they're going to drop down to 35. The GOP picked up that vacant District 65 seat, but we're only still able to project 123 seats because District 55 looks to be headed to a runoff. And while Republicans gained at least 8 new seats, you can't exactly pinpoint which of these seats they flipped because the district map changed in 2020. And no state Senate spots up for grabs, so Republicans hold on to their 30-16 advantage there. And now taking a look at voter turnout across the state. About 50% of registered voters cast their ballot in this election. And in our area, Georgetown had the highest percentage of voter turnout, 57%, which is actually the third highest in the state behind McCormick and Charleston counties. Horry County is just above the state average at 51%. Meanwhile, though, Florence County was the lowest in our area, all the way down here above 36%, the second lowest in the entire state, just ahead of Allendale County.